it is helpful to talk about the process of gentle teaching as relationship building. And I've talked many, many times about the fact that this is not building relationships for people with intellectual disabilities. It's not relationship building for people in marginalized populations, whether they have mental illness or they're homeless, troubled teens, or anything else like this. This is the normal, natural, step-by-step process of good, healthy relationships, which we make accessible to the populations that we serve. And so we start with our central purpose. The central purpose of our presence in the lives of others is to teach, nurture, and sustain the experience of connectedness, companionship, and community. Okay? That means that we teach people how to develop relationships, people who don't know how to and people who don't really want to connect with others. Once we have done that, we help them enhance their skills in relationship building and in maintaining relationships. We know how to make friends. We know how to be friends, even when our relationships get into trouble, right? And they go sour. We know how to patch those relationships up. Whether we do or not, we know how to. Once we've taught a person to connect with others, then we can get them better, we can nurture that. And that's a commitment to the person, that for as long as we are present in their lives, we have to sustain those relationships with them. Right? The first step in a relationship is just simply to connect with the other person, right? To acknowledge their presence, to tolerate their presence, to put up with somebody getting closer to us, getting closer to me, right? As we do that, people become more comfortable, and that's that stage of companionship in a relationship, right? The person not only accepts our presence, they also welcome our presence in them. They may even look forward to us and approach us when they see us come in. They're happy to see us when we come through the door, right? If they don't find us in this particular room, they go around from room to see where we might be because they want to be with us. However, realistically, I have to recognize that I'm not going to be in this person's life forever, all right? They're going to move on, or I'm going to move on, or we're going to at some point be separate from each other in our lives. And so if I've made this person singularly dependent on me, I've done the person no favors, because when I'm not in their life anymore, then they go back to where they were before without me, right? So I need to give a person the skills, the abilities, the competencies to be able to use what I show them to connect with others. And the more able they are to connect with me, the more able I am to connect with them, the easier it becomes for them to go through that same process of connectedness, companionship, and community with others. Okay? That's awfully vague stuff. The central purpose of our presence in the lives of others is to teach, nurture, and sustain the experience of connectedness, companionship, and community. And that word experience is critically important here. We're not giving a person the information about relationship building and maintaining relationships. We're not telling them how to do it, explaining to them what it means. We are giving them the experience. This is what it's like to have a friend. This is what it's like to be a friend. So we need to break it down into what that means, how we communicate, what we communicate to the person. And we do that by the expression of the 4 pillars of our culture of gentleness. If I ask experienced people experienced in gentle teaching, what are the 4 pillars of gentle teaching? Very predictably, I'm going to get a list. I'm going to get people that recite the 4 pillars of our culture of gentleness are safe, loved, loving, and engaged. Okay? But these 4 pillars are much more than that. These are emphatic statements. They've got as many exclamation points behind them as we can afford to put behind them. All right? We have to persuade a person of safe, loved, loving, and engaged. We have to persuade a person who doesn't understand what these things mean in our presence, or a person that rejects our presence. And so they do become emphatic statements. We communicate to a person, you are safe with me. Exclamation point. No doubt about it. You're always safe with me and in every fashion. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to drag you down. I'm not going to humiliate you. I'm not going to put you into impossible situations. You're physically safe with me. You are emotionally safe with me. You are socially safe with me. The second pillar is you are loved unconditionally. All right? Absolutely unconditionally. Regardless of how you're behaving, regardless of what you are doing, my posture, my attitude toward you is going to be consistent, valuing, and accepting. Now that word loved can cause a lot of problems for people. People that find it difficult to use the word loved in connection with their professional responsibilities, with their professional duties. This is particularly true about people who speak languages other than English, because in a lot of other languages, the word for love does not have the broad spectrum of meaning that it does in English. In English, it can mean many, many things. And so I've given a lot of thought about this, and it has come to my realization that the key word in this pillar is not the word loved. It is the word unconditionally. You could, instead of saying you are loved unconditionally, you could say you're valued unconditionally. Right? And you better believe it. You are accepted as you are unconditionally. But it's that unconditionality, unrelated to how you're behaving. I am always going to treat you with respect and with kindness. The third pillar, those ways that I treat you, the things that I teach you about being loving, being valuing, being accepting, I can give you exactly those skills, and you can learn to be loving. You can learn to be valuing. You can learn to be accepting. And then the last pillar is that pillar of engagement. That pillar of engagement means, what are you able to do? What are your own skills, your daily activity abilities, right? Your competence, right? Do you do the right thing? Do you know to look both ways before you cross a street? Right? Do you behave ethically or properly, appropriately? All of those things are included in engagement. Right? Even engagement has 3 stages. And the first stage is just simply be with me. I'm not going to make you do anything. I'll carry the whole load. Just be with me. All right? I'll do anything that needs doing. As a person becomes comfortable in our presence, and they will be with me, we can begin to teach a person we can do things together. You and I can do with each other. And that preposition with, it's probably one of the most valuable vocabulary words we have in a caregiving role, to do with, right? As a person, it becomes more competent, more skilled, more able in a skill, I will do less for them. If they are struggling or if they cannot do as much, I will do more for them, and I will give the person the support that they need on an individual basis. All right? The last level of engagement is that level of doing things for. Do for yourself, do for me, and do for others. And that is kind of a definition of a mature relationship, that we do things for others. All these 4 pillars, safe, loved, loving, and engaged, are still pretty darn abstract. It doesn't tell a caregiver, fine, Mike, but exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do to convince a person you are safe with me, you are loved unconditionally, you can become loving, and it is good to be with me, to do things with me, and to do things for me, for yourself, and for others. So that brings us to the tools. the concrete communication of our pillars, the concrete communication of that central purpose. And again, if I ask experienced people in gentle teaching, what are those 4 tools that we use? I can very predictably get a listing. Our 4 tools are our words, our eyes, our hands, and our presence. But again, these are very emphatic statements. In fact, these are emphatic instructions. It doesn't make any difference what tool you buy or what tool you have in your household, whether it's a simple hammer or a kitchen appliance, it's going to come with instructions, how to use this correctly, how to use it safely. And so our 4 tools are our instruction manual on what to do. So the first tool is our words, perhaps one of the strongest of our tools. All right? And our instructions for using our words as tools is speak only kindly. Speak only kindly. Right? There is absolutely no benefit ever to anyone to speak badly of a person or badly to the person. Right? If you speak ill of someone, if you speak angrily to someone, neither do you benefit nor does that person. Right? So speak only kindly. Say good words to the person, uplifting words to the person. The second tool is our eyes, and that means not just our eyes, but our whole facial expression. Of the 4 tools, this is the hardest one for us to control, to improve, to enhance, because this is the one tool that we don't see. The person we're dealing with does. They see what our facial expression is. They see either the warmth or the coldness or the disinterest or the inattention in our facial expressions. So this is one we need really to practice and to be aware of and to teach ourselves to use to encourage the person to communicate safe, loved, loving, and engaged. The third tool is our hands and our touch and the way that we touch. Just like the word love, this can cause people a lot of problems. There have been, and for good reasons, a lot of concern about coming in physical contact with the people that we support because of the past abuses of other people, right? In more than one way. Very often in the past, touch has come to represent for the people that we serve violence, control, and demand. For other people, it has been abuse, sexual abuse, predators, things like that. There have also been concerns that perhaps we are teaching the people that we serve to touch inappropriately. And so very often the response has been to have a hands-off policy. How sad it would be, how rough it would be to live your whole life without physical contact with some person. So the solution is not to ban physical touch, to prohibit physical touch with the people we serve, but to teach them appropriate touch, right? And so our tool of our hands is to touch gently and respectfully. Not to rule it out for the people, but to teach them what it means, what our hands mean, what our touch means. And then the last of our tools is our presence, right? It does mean our physical presence. It means proximity. It means posture. It means whether we're relaxed or tense in their presence. But it also means our alertness, our attentiveness to the person, that when we are serving a person, that they have our whole alertness, our whole attention, that we are not dividing our mind between them and other matters that are going on with us. So the 9 fundamentals of gentle teaching. First is our central purpose, that our purpose in the presence, in the lives of others, is to teach, nurture, and sustain the experience of connectedness, companionship, and community. Relationship building. That's exactly what that means. Relationship maintenance. We do this by teaching a person, you are safe with me, you are loved with me, I can teach you to become loving, to me, to yourself, and to others, and it is good to be with me, to do things with me, and to do things for me, do things for yourself, and do things for others. The concrete sensory way that we have to teach those things is to speak only kindly, to touch only gently and respectfully, to look only warmly at a person, and to be there in our presence, be there with the person and for the person. And when I say to do these things only speak kindly, only touch gently and respectfully, I use that only to emphasize how critically important it is for us to be able to use those tools as well as we can.